Roberto was a lad of 12 and lived with his parents in a rural area. The school year was over, it was vacation time and time to work for Roberto. He would spend this period working for Don Enrique, in an hacienda just 2 hours travel from the small settlement where they lived. His dad took him and recommended him to the hacienda. Roberto would be picking peaches, apples and pears. He did not know that Don Enrique had 4 children, 1 girl and 3 boys, 2 of them about his own age, and that was a joy for him as he would have someone to play with. Daily, after harvesting the fruit, he would spend all afternoon playing with Don Enrique's sons and hiding away to sneak a smoke with them. He was having a good vacation. But one day when he was on top of a tree cutting fruit, accidentally he let go off the bucket. It fell right on the nose of one of the boys and it started to bleed. Roberto got very scared and ran away aimlessly until he found himself on top of a hill. He had to look for a place to sleep as it was already dark. So walking by the light of the moon he found a small cave. He thought he should clean it up a bit to make a small bonfire to sleep warmly. But as he took a few steps to the interior of the cave he fell down noisily about 20 meters and fainted. The first rays of the sun waked him up. He got up hurt and in pain. On his right you could see the entry to a cave on top of a steep slope, and on his left there was a small access just as high, and in front of him there was just a wall of solid rock. As he dusted himself up he was considering how he was going to get out, when turning to the back saw the entrance to a small cave. It looked handmade, a small arch well formed, well built. So he decided to walk in cautiously in the deep shadows. He lit a match and found himself inside a sort of dome. He set fire to some sticks and what he saw was extraordinary: skeletons of men and animals, swords, weapons, helmets, spurs and many other things, as well as a vast number of skins full of gold coins. He filled the pockets of his pants and his coat with as many coins as he could. And with a great deal of trouble he was finally able to walk up the slope and go home. Roberto explained to his dad and mom what had happened. There was no scolding, and with the gold they lived for many years very comfortably. Until the death of his parents. Roberto was an elderly man when he told me this story. Of course I never believed him. I thought it was only a good story. Time went by and one day it occurred to me to tell the story to Paco, a friend of mine with a good knowledge of treasure hunting and some equipment. He was not surprised and told me that it was true and that he would take me to see someone who also had gone into the cave. We arrived at that man's house and he greeted us very courteously. The man had a good friendship with Paco. He was about 95 years old, in very good shape and very friendly. He invited us in and showed us a sword and a Spanish helmet and told us that many years ago, when he was still very young, he had gone into the cave. He described practically everything exactly like Roberto, and told us that he had gone in twice but because of fear he did not go again, because at the time it was very dangerous to carry cash and even worse to carry gold. Even with all those testimonies I was not satisfied and in a few days I went to Roberto's house. To my surprise he showed me an old weapon, an antique, some silver spurs and the only old coin he still kept as good luck charm. I asked him in what place exactly was the cave located and he gave me approximate directions to the site and explained where the cave was. Everything had changed a lot. Trees and shrubs, stones, leaves, dirt and branches had transformed the place. He said I would realize that too many years had gone by. So I got myself to the hill of the volcano and after walking for about 2 hours, at last I went into the cave and found out that I was at an even level. There was no such a thing as a slope, there was no way down, everything was filled with earth and stones.